Good evening and welcome to ET Now Startup Central, India's first and only daily show dedicated to startups, technology and entrepreneurship. I'm Chandra Shrikant coming to you live from India Startup Capital, Bengaluru. It's Friday and it's also the month end, the quarter end. So we are going to kick off the show, bring you insights on who raised what in the July to September quarter, how did startups fare, and what was the quantum raised in the comparable period, both the previous quarter and the same period last year. So as you can see on your screens, Q3 2018, which is basically July to September 2018, has been very good for the startup ecosystem. $3.5 billion in total invested across 112 deals, and if you compare that with Q2, the number of investments were 132. So in terms of the number of investments, it was higher, but if you look at the quantum, it was 2.8 billion. And if you look at Q3 2017, 110 deals worth 3.4 billion. So I think we are almost similar, to where we are compared to 2017. There hasn't been a big spike, but it's also good because the pace of fundraising has been healthy. We are seeing more and more startups touching the unicorn status, so to speak. In this quarter itself, we had 3 unicorns. We had Oyo, we had Udaan, and we had Freshworks, and there is speculation that there are going to be many more by the end of the year. But for more insights on this, we have 2 special guests joining us on Startup Central. We have Arun Natarajan from Venture Intelligence. We also have Dev Khare from Lightspeed. This has been a remarkable quarter for Lightspeed. 2 of their startups touching unicorn status, that's Oyo as well as Udaan, and one other startup in their portfolio, ShareChat, also raised a massive $100 million. So I'm going to come to you, Arun. What do you make of the numbers on the face of it? Is this a big spike? How does it compare to the previous year and the previous quarter?
Chandra, what a spectacular quarter. There's no other word to describe it. If the previous quarter was the Flipkart Walmart deal, I would say this quarter is, really the consequence of that. I would stick my neck out. Just 10 investments, most of them granted in the growth and late stage, above $100 million. You named some of them and the list goes on. Grey Orange Robotics, ShareChat you mentioned, and so many more. And this is just happening almost week on week. And I think there are this is something which we have seen since 2015. The most cheery quarter, I would say, at least from an investment perspective. So clearly the investments are have been across sectors and regions. So all in all, I would say there was only one word to call it: spectacular and very reminiscent of 2015.
Right. We also have Dev Khare from Lightspeed joining us on the phone line. Dev, 2 of your portfolio companies attained the unicorn status in the last quarter. Oyo Rooms as well as Udaan. Take us through that, what it means for you to see these 2 really scale up. Oyo in particular, I mean, they're investing big time in China. One of the few startups that's actually managed to scale massively in China. They're talking about investing over $500 million in as they expand there. So take us through what this quarter has meant for Lightspeed, because at least in terms of milestones, 2 big wins there for you.
Hi, Chandra. The investments in Oyo, in Udaan and ShareChat and many of our other companies, as you know, it takes several years for companies to grow large and hit sort of an impact scale. And in all of these companies, we've invested several years ago. So it's been painstaking work that the entrepreneurs have done over many, many years. These aren't, and nothing is an overnight success story. So everything takes a lot of effort. I think what's interesting today about all of these opportunities, these 3 companies that are backed by Lightspeed, is that they have leveraged this massive adoption of the internet in India. And then in the case of Oyo, they're also taking the business model that was invented by them in India. They're taking that to other countries, including China and other parts of Southeast Asia and Europe. So it's interesting to see one of the first few times that Indian internet companies are starting to go abroad. These are multi-year investments, and so nothing new, I would say, that happened in this quarter, but these are, 5, 6, 7 years worth of effort put in by the founders of these companies and all the employees of those companies that have put in a lot of late hours. So pretty exciting to see the growth.
Right, right. Arun, in terms of sectors, what trends are you seeing there? E-commerce is clearly back in flavor. We are also seeing a lot of interest in fintech, but that's going to come under some stress now because of the Aadhaar verdict. People are still worried about what it's going to mean, how it's going to impact cost of customer acquisition. So what do you make of that?
Sure. So, we've been seeing this kind of, chase between e-commerce and, fintech, pretty much month on month, exchanging the positions. Clearly, e-commerce has taken the lead this quarter, at least, 19 investments, including, a lot of B2B ones, including obviously Udaan right up there. And also we saw ShopX and other B2B e-commerce companies take attract the investor attention this quarter. And fintech, has been strong. Obviously, you have a Berkshire Hathaway coming in, into Paytm, so that stands out as well. And interestingly, led by CureFit and a whole bunch of other startups, in almost 13 investments in the health tech space. So it's not as if if fintech were to kind of suffer for one quarter, there is lack of appetite. And a whole bunch of other sectors have also come. We talked about ShopClues last week. The whole regional language, including vocal, for example, that seems to be taking off as well. So I don't think maybe there is a kind of pause on fintech, but that shouldn't affect the overall mix. But I guess they will have something different to offer there.
Right. And Dev, how do the investments this time around compare to 2015? Is there a bubble sort of scenario? Are these more mature investments in business models that have been validated? How would this compare to the rush that we saw in 2015?
When I was in a program, Chandra, a couple of months ago, we talked about this. I think fundamentally in that year, there were a lot of investments in e-commerce and on-demand models of various kinds. And I think the seeds and Series A's in those companies, happened at that time. I think this year and last year, seeds and Series A's were in new areas, B2B marketplaces, B2B software, some fintech, and some of these new consumer areas like content, vernacular, education, and so on. So these are new areas, and that's how this year compares to 2015.
Right. Arun, I'm wondering if you have a question for Dev.
Oh, absolutely, Dev. So, they recently Lightspeed opened up in Bangalore, but if you've seen the last couple of quarters, Mumbai startups have been catching up, with at least the NCR, companies. So, is it time for Lightspeed to open up in Mumbai as well, you think? ShareChat, of course, is headquartered there.
No, we're not going to open up in Mumbai anytime soon, although we travel there often and have invested in companies like ItsCash there in the past. ShareChat is based in Bangalore, as is Byju's and Udaan and many of our portfolio companies, and we continue to spend time there as well as Delhi. We've also spent time in Chennai. We've got investments in Hyderabad, Mumbai, Pune. We even made time in the last quarter to head out to Trivandrum, Kochi, and other such places. So we pretty much cover lots of different cities in India. And what's interesting is that this startup activity is spreading beyond the main metros, and that's very encouraging to see.
Right.
Yeah. Chandra, if I can have another one,
the ShareChat founders are very much based in Bangalore, right there in Koramangala opposite Forum Mall. But I'm afraid we have time just for one last question. So Dev, I'm just going to end it with asking you, do you expect the space of investment to continue into the last quarter of the year as well in terms of, you know, the pace of deal making? There are a lot of questions right now, at least on the fintech space. People are awaiting clarity after the Aadhaar verdict in terms of, you know, what it will do to eKYC, to the cost of customer acquisition. Do you expect some sort of pressure coming in, at least as far as the fintech space is concerned, particularly the online lending models that have relied on Aadhaar so far to grow their business?
I think the way we read it is that it's voluntary. If consumers want to provide their Aadhaar number for eKYC, it's not mandatory. That's what the Supreme Court seems to have ruled. So it remains to be seen whether there's any impact. We don't think so. And we remain quite hopeful around fintech. I think the bigger issue, if you want to call it an issue with fintech, is that it requires a lot of capital. And there's only so many early stage funds in India. So at some point, most funds would have made investments in certain categories and will then wait for those companies to grow. And so there's not an infinite amount of capital to be invested in fintech.
Right. On that note, thank you so much, Arun and Dev, for joining us on this special edition of Startup Central, where we've sort of analyzed the investments between July and September. But of course, we'll have to wait and see if you know, that pace continues into the fourth quarter as well. But thank you both so much for joining us on the show. We'll take a break at this point, but when we come back, we tell you about how Amazon plans to really you know, capitalize on the festive season, what they're going to do differently this time. Come back for more on the other side of Startup Central. Welcome back to Startup Central. Now, Amazon, Flipkart have all announced their festive sales, but Amazon has gone a step further. It's done something that it's trying to do world over, which is replicate what it does on the website in a physical store or a physical home in this case. So what they basically did is they redid an entire bungalow in Delhi to resemble what an Amazon store would look like if you were to order everything from there. So they're calling this the Amazon Festive Home. We are going to just bring up some visuals of those on the screen, and after that we'll get you a conversation with Manish Tiwari, who joins us on the show. He's the VP for category VP for category management at Amazon India. Manish, thanks so much for joining us on Startup Central. I just want to ask you, the dates are out, but what plans do you have for customers this time around? You've sort of created buzz with this festive home that you've unveiled in Delhi. Is this going to be across? What strategy do you have in place?
Just want to share with your viewers that this is a pretty unique concept. I'm not sure what all you can see on the camera right now, but what we did is we actually took an empty house which had nothing inside around 3 weeks back, and then we decided to furnish the whole house, every corner of it, by shopping on Amazon.in, and 950 orders down the last 2 weeks. We today have close to 1800 products in this house, and everything you see in this house, from the furniture to the electric appliances to the fans to the lighting systems to the food in the kitchen and the pantry, everything's been bought from Amazon.in. And we just thought it was a good way of sharing with our brand partners, our sellers, the press and your viewers on how wide the selection on Amazon.in is. Like I keep on saying, we are selling 122 million products, but 172 million is still a number. When you see it in real life, it's a different experience. So we're quite delighted with being able to share it with so many people. So that's as far as the festive home is concerned, the Amazon Festive Home. We are using it as a platform to announce our plans for the entire Diwali season. And for us, Diwali is it's a month-long celebration. It will start on 10th of October. The first wave of sales is from 10th to 15th October. Prime members will continue to get early access just the way they get it for all large sales event, and they would get access on 9th. And then we will announce the other series of events which will happen during the month leading up to the Diwali festival date.
In fact, three. Right, in terms of growth in market share, you know, it's always been a contest between you and Flipkart, each claiming victory. But how confident are you this time? I mean, Flipkart's entering the sale with after a huge sale to Walmart. But, you know, what are you expecting this time in terms of market share?
Yeah, let me start by saying I have a single point objective in this Diwali, and which is what it was last year and has been for the 5 years that we've been sort of working in India. It is to delight the customer on Amazon.in. That's my single point objective. And whatever I spoke about, the selection, the offering, the speed of delivery, unified installation, all of it is working to delight the Indian customer. That's my single point objective. What you are referring to in terms of the output metrics of GMV or share, at Amazon, we've never focused on it. We've been obsessed with sort of delighting our customer. And that's what I aim to do this Diwali also, along with my team.
You also launched a Hindi version of the app recently. You know, what sort of traction are you seeing on that? And do you expect a fillip coming in from that? Because everybody is talking about the Bharat market, the India too, so to speak. Vernacular is getting a big push even from investors. So do you expect that to give you a fillip this festive season?
Just take a step back, and you know, we keep on talking about the three pillars we focus on when we build a business in Amazon, which is the selection, the price stroke value, and convenience. I think Amazon.in in Hindi is focused on the convenience aspect. As we focus on the next 100 million customers in India who are shopping on Amazon.in, I think Hindi starts playing a very important role. We have been getting feedback from people. A lot of people in India are quite comfortable with English, but they prefer Hindi, and that shows up in various things they do even otherwise. We launched Amazon.in in Hindi around a month, 6 weeks back, and the initial response has been extremely exciting. Like every other large sale event, especially the Diwali event, one of the things which does happen is we see a huge growth in new customers, and a lot of these customers come from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, as we call them. So I believe that Amazon.in Hindi would be a delight for a lot of our Hindi speaking customers, and would be critical in terms of new customers as we focus on acquiring the next 100 million customers in India.
We'll catch up with you closer to the dates of the sale as well. But time to move on to an important story, and this is coming from the world of Bitcoins. If you're someone who's invested in Bitcoins, particularly using the cryptocurrency exchange Zeppay, this is very important because Zeppay has announced that they are shutting down. Now, this is coming on the back of RBI's Bitcoin ban. So Zeppay has announced that they will stop all exchange activities effective today. The move comes following RBI's ban on Bitcoins. They've also said that the curb on bank accounts has crippled ours and our customers' ability to transact business. All unexecuted orders will be cancelled and funds will be credited back to customers' wallets. So that's an important update as far as Zeppay is concerned. And it's important to mention here that, you know, be it the government, be it the RBI, they've had a pretty negative view as far as cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, is concerned. So I guess Zeppay is the first to pay the price, and hopefully they are saying that customers will be refunded if they've already placed orders for Bitcoins. We'll have to see how they execute on that. Time to end the show then with another important story, and this time it's an international story making headlines even as we speak. Tesla's shares are taking a huge knock in the US market, and this is because the US market regulator SEC has sued Elon Musk. Now, SEC has charged Elon Musk with securities fraud, and this is because of his tweets last month where he said that he is taking Tesla private. Now, SEC alleges that he did this without any plan, any strategy in place, misleading investors as a result. they also don't want him to continue as the CEO of Tesla. This is clearly going to be a huge blow for Tesla because Elon Musk has pretty much been the soul, the face of the company. What happens if he's asked to step aside? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, Tesla at least seems to be backing its founder and CEO. They said that we are confident about Elon Musk. And Elon Musk himself has reacted, saying that he's deeply saddened and disappointed with SEC's decision. He's also said that he's always taken action in the best interest of truth, transparency and investors, and that integrity is the most important value in his life. But you know, if you look at that SEC order, it's pretty hilarious because they say that he arrived at the buyback price on impulse and it had a lot to do with marijuana and impressing his girlfriend. I guess he's paying a price for that. But on that note, thanks so much for watching this edition of Startup Central. Stay tuned for a special show on the Sabarimala verdict coming up on ET Now.